What is up, YouTube? What is up, college football fans? What is up, Clemson Tiger fans? You guys know what I say. Every day above ground is a great day as far as I'm concerned, and every day is a great day to be a Clemson Tiger. Well, round and round and round it goes. Where this shit show stops, nobody knows. Before I get into the game, I haven't heard any updates, and maybe some of you had. I'm going to keep my eye out about the condition of Bryant Wesco. Had that scary play where he landed on his head and apparently had a neck injury of some sort and was taken to the hospital. I haven't heard anything on his condition, but if you guys have, let me know. I'll keep my eye out. Obviously wish him the best. He's the best player on the offense. Him and Moore, two best players on the offense. And he's really my favorite player on the team this year. So anyway, it's just this team is so hard to watch, and it's becoming difficult to every week come on here and say the same things over and over and over again like a broken record. But it's ironic because this team is like a broken record. Somebody said on my stream yesterday, they were like, this is like, you're watching the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what this is. This might be the most predictable, vanilla, soft offense in the country. With the exception of a couple players. 3 or 4, right? You got Adam Randall did not have a very good day yesterday. He wasn't given that many opportunities again, but he didn't have his best game, all right? But we've got other guys that can step in his place that we didn't see even get a chance to do that. Of course, like always. You got TJ Moore, you got Bryant Wesco, you've got Tristan Smith, who should be on the field a lot more. Because every time the guy gets in the game and they throw him the ball, he makes plays. He's a playmaker. He's got that dog in him. He plays like somebody who worked their way up from junior college to a program like Clemson, where some of these other players who aren't half as good as Tristan Smith are on the field more than he is. Cole Turner, I'm looking at you. But it's 11 carries by running backs yesterday. 11. Not a single carry by Keith Adams Jr. 1 carry by Gideon Davidson, and the rest of them were by I guess 9 carries or whatever it was by Adam Randall. On the flip side of that, 15 carries for your boy Christopher Vezina. Shout out to Christopher Vezina. There's a lot of things, well, across the board, offensively and defensively. We'll talk about the defense in a minute, that were just absolutely horrid yesterday. Vezina, this was not on him. Over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He almost turned the ball over early in the game with that botched snap where he just kind of dropped the ball. It wasn't even a bad snap, really. Vezina just wasn't ready for the ball or just didn't handle it right. He drops it right on the ground. Luckily, Adam Randall falls right on it. But that was really, I mean, this is not on Vezina. I'll give credit to Vezina. He didn't play bad yesterday. This loss yesterday was not on him. It's 110% on the offensive coaching staff and Garrett Riley and the philosophy that they continue to churn out week in and week out, and it doesn't work. Even Christopher Vezina's stats can be a little bit misleading. When you look at I think he had like a 69% completion percentage, which is good. That's high. But most of those are, swing passes, bubble screens, passes behind the line of scrimmage, easy passes to make. So that inflates the percentage. But it really was kind of clownish how, talk about playing complementary football. Anytime the offense would score, Vezina made some great throws down the field. We had some great catches. Some of the balls were dropped. But every time Clemson would go down and score, you needed the defense to make a stop. And they just couldn't do it. Every time Clemson scored, they allowed SMU to either have a long sustained drive down the field and kick a field goal or go down the field and get a touchdown. This might be the worst game that Clemson's defense has played all year. And shout out to SMU's coaching staff, who does know instead of just saying, we're going to play SMU offense, we're going to play SMU football, no matter who we're lined up against, it's going to be our guy, our good on your good. That's Clemson's philosophy. That's what Dabo says all the time. It doesn't matter who we're playing, we're not going to change our playing style. SMU and a lot of these other teams that have beat Clemson this year, or at least hung with them, have had the opposite approach. Those intermediate passes, those 8, 9, 10-yard passes by SMU were just killing Clemson. It was death by 1,000 cuts. They were exposing number 5 big time. And that's what you do. You look at the weakness on the defense you're playing against and attack it. Not just do the same crap over and over again expecting a different result. But 11 carries by running backs is inexcusable. You cannot win football games with zero threat of running the ball outside of your quarterback, who, by the way, has no business running the ball. Vizina is a pro-style quarterback. He's slow. He's relying on him to have the majority of the carries in the game is asinine. Not one single carry for Keith Adams Jr. That blows my mind. They brought in Davidson for one play. He ran the ball for 3 yards. You didn't see him again. No more carries. So the question is, we continue to hear the same thing from Dabo Swinney. Embarrassing after the game, he starts saying, well, of course we're all, the same stuff he says every week. Of course we're all disappointed. The players are all disappointed. It's just we're having a bad year, but we won a bunch of games 7 years ago. So, we've done a lot of winning around here. He always has to, when you start talking about what you did in the past and just leaning on that things aren't good. So I don't put this as much on the players as I do on the coaching staff. So that begs the question. Here's the debate going on right now in Clemson land. You're always going to have the certain section of the fan base who's going to just agree with everything Dabo Swinney says and just buy into anything he says and be all in all the time, no matter what. Then you'll have the people on the extreme side of that really just wants to fire everybody, including Dabo Swinney, burn the whole thing to the ground and start over. And then you have people that are somewhere in the middle. Like, there does need to be some coaching changes made. Now, wherever you fall on that spectrum, I still maintain, whether you like it or not, I'm dealing with reality and not what people want. Like, within reason and reality, what are some of the changes that can and should be made starting now, or definitely once the season's over with, as far as the coaching staff is concerned? The most likely one to be fired, in my opinion, is Garrett Riley, and I think he should be. But it makes more sense. I don't think Dabo Swinney's getting fired. So, again, let's deal in reality here. So, which position coaches and or coordinators could potentially be on the chopping block and probably should go? Garrett Riley's at the top of that list. He's going into the last year of his contract. It wouldn't be an insane amount of money to get rid of him. And he's proven that his offensive philosophy at Clemson doesn't work. It doesn't work. And he's not changing either. We already know he's not going to change his philosophy. This is who he is. This is how he coaches. This is his scheme. This is his philosophy. You're either going to have to ride with it or get rid of him. I say get rid of him. I've seen enough. It's a high school offense. CJ Spiller. I mean, you got a bunch of guys on this team. I don't know. See, here's the other thing. I don't know who's making the personnel decisions about who's running the football and who's not running the football. I'm pretty sure it's Garrett Riley deciding not to run the football at all because he likes to pass the ball behind the line of scrimmage 50 times a game and or run the quarterback draw on 3rd and 18 for no reason. So we know that. But who's deciding who's getting the carries? Because it was obvious that Adam Randall was having a rough day. Look, you can't knock it out of the park on every single week, on every game. Adam Randall's played great for the most part all year, but he just didn't have it yesterday. All right, that's fine. Give Keith Adams some opportunities. Give number 9 some opportunities. Let's get somebody else in there that has a different style of running. Adam Randall they run everything between the tackles. And so the defense sees Adam Randall lined up. They just clog the middle of the line. and stop the run. So get a guy who can bounce it to the outside with some speed like Keith Adams or Gideon Davidson Jr. Let's mix it up here a little bit. Don't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. But anyway, getting back to Spiller. Is Spiller the one making these decisions? Because the running back room has not been great. It's been a steady decline over the past 3 years. All the years that Spiller has been there as a running back coach. You bring in Ben Boulware, a Clemson legend. Love Ben Boulware, one of my favorite all-time Clemson Tigers, national championship winning absolute dog at linebacker. But you don't just bring the guy in off the street and now all of a sudden he's the linebackers coach. He's never been a linebackers coach anywhere else except for maybe, I don't know, maybe he coached high school football somewhere for a year or two. I don't know. Nick Eason, the defensive line. Again, another, well, you see a pattern here, don't you? Another Clemson great, Nick Eason, former player. They bring him in. Now, he did have coaching experience, coaching defensive line at major schools before he came to Clemson. The year before he came to Clemson, he was at Auburn. But Auburn didn't really have a great defensive line that year either. But the defensive line has been one of the most disappointing units on this team. I mean, it's loaded with NFL players. The entire day yesterday, you're playing against a quarterback who's got one leg, and you can't get any pressure on him. Not only that, not only couldn't they get any pressure on him, he was running it down their throat. Do you know that Jennings leading into the game yesterday, when he was healthy, yesterday he was hurt. When he was healthy, he had less than 1 yard per carry average on the season running the ball? You got a guy with one leg getting big, huge chunk plays with his legs on you. Running right by you. Mike Reed. That's a difficult one for me. The secondary's played terrible this year. But Reed has put a bunch of really good players in the NFL that played really well at Clemson. A bunch of them. So that's one of those position coaches that I'm like, it's just more on the players than it is him, you know, because he's the same coach he's always been, and he's been a good coach for a long time. So I don't know about that one. Yeah. So every year Grisham comes up as a name, but you know the receivers haven't played bad, in my opinion. So I think I disagree with some of the personnel, like I said when I talk about Tristan Smith, but it's not Grisham's fault that that you drop a wide open 50-yard pass. That's on the players. But so that's the reason I'm asking you. I'm definitely for sure saying Garrett Riley. A lot of people are already talking about Tom Allen. Tom Allen's not getting fired either. You can put him in the same boat as Dabo Swinney. He's not getting fired. He's in there in his first year. What you need to do is let him bring some of his own guys in there. I mean, Tom Allen, when he was at Penn State last year, had a top 5 defense. So what changed? Well, when he got the job at Clemson, none of his staff came with him. It's all Dabo's guys. It's the Nick Easons. It's the Ben Boulwares. So if you're going to hire Tom Allen to do a job and fix this defense, let him bring his guys in there. Get rid of some of Dabo's guys. Let Tom Allen bring in some of his guys. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But, Dabo again gave the same old answers yesterday. Well, I'm going to do the same thing we do every year, which is part of the problem. And that's going to be, we're going to reevaluate everything at the end of the year, and we're going to start over, blah, blah, blah. You hear he says the same thing every year. It's his version of coach speak or whatever. One negative thing, well, a lot of negative things. One negative thing about Christopher Vezina playing well yesterday, the positive thing about him playing well yesterday is that we know that he can play well. So if he's our starter next year, which it looks like he's going to be, then we have some confidence that we have a competent quarterback going into next year in Vezina. The downside of that could be if you're Dabo Swinney and you already don't like using the portal, which we know he doesn't really like to if he doesn't have to, is that, oh, well, we got our guy next year. No reason to go into the portal and get a quarterback. I can see Dabo thinking that. I'm here to tell you, whether Vezina's the starter next year or not, They need to be going into the portal after a quarterback. They need to seriously go after a quarterback. One, you might find one that's better than Vizina. That's number one. Number two, if Vizina gets hurt, you want a guy that can win games, not just not lose them or try not to lose them. Lastly, I'll say this, talking about just this team, the attitude of this team overall, is that they do look like they're not playing to win. They always look like they're playing not to lose, and that's a bad thing. When you look at teams like SMU yesterday, that's a team that's playing like a team that wants to win, not playing not to lose. And you have former players, a lot of former great Clemson players that are now taking to social media and pointing this out. DJ Reader yesterday, former Clemson player, on X posted that Clemson's got a recruiting problem and the type of players they're recruiting, as far as, well, I think his exact words were, you need to go out there and start recruiting a-holes and not these nice guys. Guys that want to win. Guys that have that edge about them. Guys like you got out of the portal with Will Helt and Tristan Smith, who were two of the better players on the team, and they're not Clemson recruits. They came from somewhere else. They got that fire in them. They got that one in them. So it's just a lot of problems, man. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think. I got a bye week this week, so I'm expecting Cade Klubnik will heal up over the next 2 weeks and he'll be the starter against Duke in 2 weeks from now. But you guys let me know what you think below. Hit that thumbs up. You guys know all that deal. Leave a comment and argue with me if you want to. I don't care. I've been saying the same thing for a month, for more than a month, and almost everything I've said has come to fruition. So, anyway, all right, y'all have a great day.